What a wonderful gospel. Jesus tells us that we are invited to the kingdom of heaven, to the wedding feast of the Lamb. But then he lets us know how easy it is to lose this. He likens it to a rich man who has a dinner party. He's invited the people and they say yes, they want to come. But then what happens? Well, the first says, I've purchased a field and I must go and examine it. In other words, because he wasn't either understanding what the dinner was or how important it was, he put something else above it. Buying land. Buying land isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing. But if it keeps us from heaven, then we have a problem. Another says, I have purchased 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm on my way to evaluate them. Please notice, I had something else planned. That's what happens is we think my plans are more important than God's plans. And as a result of this, we miss the opportunity. And the third says, I just married a woman and therefore I cannot come. Please note, if you were obliged to fight in the army, if you were newly married, you were excused for 1 year. And so, if he's looking at this invitation as if it were an obligation, then he would say, I've just married, I can't come. Wouldn't it make more sense to bring your wife with you? This isn't rocket science. But if we have not put our priorities in order, then we get led astray. And it happens little by little, because God invites us to the wedding feast of heaven 1,000 times a day. Our minds, I'm attention deficit disorder, so mine is probably worse. But I lose my track of time 100 times a day. And when I recognize it and I bring myself back, I'm choosing heaven. When I recognize it and I choose not to call myself back, I've chosen against heaven. And today we're voting. And the question is, are we voting as Christians? And are we participating in this race as Christians? Or do we put political victory over God's will? Do we put political victory over setting an example, not of which candidate that I vote for, but how I speak about this and how I view other people? These are opportunities to choose heaven. But how often do we say, I'm going to do anything I can to win this election, or anyone who disagrees with me, I'm against them because they're the enemy, they're bad. That's not choosing heaven. That's self-justification. We are invited to the wedding feast of the Lamb in heaven. We are called to come not by ourselves, but to bring everyone with us. And so it matters how we speak to people. It matters how we speak about people. It matters how we treat people. Each time, each and every time, we are invited to the kingdom of heaven. And how do we respond? And in that response, am I moving closer to God or am I moving further away?